Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show, joining every morning at 8 a.m. UK time. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to the first day of a brand new week. And of course, the first week until the rest of the season, if you like, because at the end of this week, Arsenal will play the first of the remaining 10 games of the Premier League campaign, in which they aim to try and win their first title for 19 years. It is going to be an exciting, a hectic and nervous end to the season, but we're going to be here for all of it and, of course, covering the Gunners every single day. So make sure that if you aren't already subscribed, to hit that subscribe button. If you do enjoy our morning shows, please do drop a like on the video as well and subscribe to the channel for all this content that's going to be coming your way over the next 6, 7, 8 weeks or so. There's lots of time left in the season. And then, of course, when the season finishes, no matter what happens, we'll be here bringing you all the transfer updates across the summer and into the following season as well. Good morning to you, guys joining us in the chat box. It's joyous for you to be with us. Kaiser, good morning to you. For Harrison and Damien, Carl, Red Star, NSW, Mike, Carlton, Shadith, good morning to you. MJ10, Sandman, good morning to, we've got Tabani, we've got Olu, we've got NSW, Yomi, Sam. I think we've said hello to a few people twice now. Lucky people indeed. But of course, thank you everybody that's tuning in at the renewed time this morning. It is still 8 a.m. here in the UK, but of course, I know that with the clocks going forwards and us losing an hour yesterday, it means that, of course, people around the world are tuning in at a slightly different time. That's just the way that it goes. But this will be the normal time for the show going forwards every single day until the clocks go back in, I want to say, October, I think, is the next time they move. So yes, this will be it until then. So make sure that you have got your alarm clock set and that you're ready to tune in every morning at this time. Of course, we do upload these on audio platforms as well after the live show has finished. But if you want to listen to these shows live, you can only do that on YouTube. Okay, let's go to today's stories then. First of all, Santi Cazorla has made Villarreal historic 11. So of all the players to have ever played for Villarreal, Santi Cazorla is included in their all-time greatest 11. And it was making me think, where would he kind of rank for Arsenal in terms of midfielders? Obviously, Arsenal have had and been blessed with some of the best midfielders to ever grace the game, thankfully, and we have experienced some amazing footballers. But Santi Cazorla is a brilliant, brilliant footballer and was certainly one of my only two Emirates era legends that may increase certainly after this season. We'll have to wait and see. But Santi Cazorla, I think, would rank very highly amongst Arsenal's all-time midfielders as well. But he gets into Villarreal's and has been voted into their historic 11. What a player that man was. Still is, to be fair, still playing. Big news, of course, breaking last night. They tried to hide it by announcing this at around 11:30 UK time in the evening, that Antonio Conte has indeed been sacked by Tottenham Hotspur. The club announced the news, as I say, about 11:30 last night, trying to hide it away from everyone so no one would notice. But we notice everything. We see everything. But Christian Stellini is set to take chance and be in charge until the end of the season as Spurs coach, while the board look for a new manager for the season of 23-24. Apparently, the Spurs list includes 4 to 5 options, and Tuchel was one of those, according to Fabrizio Romano. But he, of course, has now joined Bayern. We're, of course, sure that Julian Nagelsmann will be in the frame for this job, as will a number of others. Pochettino still without work too. We'll have to wait and see. But Antonio Conte is no longer Tottenham manager, and I think that's a shame. It's a real shame, because I think, if anything, he was doing a great job. I thought he was doing a fantastic piece of work over there. I would have loved to have seen him continue on with his work, but unfortunately, that is not going to happen. Okay, moving forwards, going into more Arsenal side of things. Emile Smith Rowe has been speaking after his goal for England's under-21s. Oh, hold on, I can feel it coming. No, is it? TGT sneeze? It's there. No, it's not. It's run away. Okay, thank goodness. I feel like I scare it away every time I bring it up. So there we go. It's gone. I've never had surgery before, he says. So at the start, I was quite worried because I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was even going to be the same after it. Speaking continually, he says, this is my last season with the under-21s. So I need to make sure I'm playing. I need to be getting minutes, scoring and assisting as much as I can. Obviously, my aim is to get back into the Arsenal team too. I'm desperate to be playing because the team are doing really well, and it's something I want to be part of. He continued to talk about other factors as well. He says, I'm feeling good at the moment. It's been quite difficult to get back from surgery, and it was quite hard to get fully fit. But I've been training a lot with Arsenal as well. I feel ready to go and good to get minutes today. I'm just building that up. So that's really positive to hear from Smith, who obviously scored for England's under-21s as well. But it's very, very good indeed. Daniel Robert in the chat says, if you're about to sneeze, you've got to say the word pineapple, and apparently that stops it. I will test this theory, and if it doesn't work, I'm coming for you, all right? Just know that. I don't want you... This is going to be so embarrassing. I'm sitting there going, pineapple, and nothing happens. But Dan, I will remember that. Bukayo Saka scored and assisted for England in yesterday's win over Ukraine. If you haven't seen Bukayo Saka's goal, find some way, somehow to watch it. It is a brilliant piece of football and a classic Bukayo Saka spin turn outside the box strike into the top left-hand corner. We at Arsenal could do with a few more of those between now and the end of the season. We'll have to wait and see if indeed it's possible for him to recreate this. But Saka, with a man of the match performance, he got man of the match after the game as well. I was a little bit frustrated with the fact that he played the entire 90 minutes. I know that we are lacking options, but we could have moved to a back three. You know, you bring Conor Gallagher and Ivan Toney and Jack Grealish off the bench. Bring Saka off, bring an extra defender on, go to a back three, just chill. I know people are saying that it was a pretty slow game. I'm pretty sure in terms of England's fixtures, of what we've still got coming up as well. We don't play now until the 16th of June, I believe that's the case, when we play Malta. So that's it in terms of it for Saka. But frustrating. People will say it's not that much of a big deal because we don't play again until Sunday, but I'd rather he weren't on the field for 90 minutes. It's just one of those things that I'm being really anal about, but yeah, we'll see. Moving forwards and sticking with Saka and Zinchenko, you can see pictured here together. Zinchenko tried as best he could to be a force for Ukraine, but England were by far the better side during the fixture. But there was a clip, I don't know if you've seen this, of Zinchenko speaking to Declan Rice after the game. You got to appreciate the theories that have gone around on social media as well. What indeed did Zinchenko say to Declan Rice? Some people have suggested that he was asking him whether or not he's coming to Arsenal. I don't think that's the case personally. I'd be very surprised. We can obviously you think about those wrong subtitle clips you get going around on YouTube just for comedy, and I feel as though if you put words next to something, you can make anything look like they're saying that. So yeah, I doubt that's the case. But who knows? Zinchenko and Declan Rice catching up after the game. Maybe we'll see them as teammates next season. And lastly, Manchester City have recorded a second injury of the international break. Their first of all being Erling Haaland, who suffered a groin injury that may indeed keep him out of that game against Liverpool. We're going to have to wait and see. His father described it as being touch and go. However, Phil Foden is also set to miss Liverpool's clash with Man City after undergoing surgery for acute appendicitis. Now, this is an injury, well, I say it's just obviously not a sport-related injury. It's just one of those surgeries sometimes anyone in the world could need to have. But I was looking back over historic injuries like this, and I found an article in 2011 in which Luka Modric was missing for Tottenham for just 2 weeks after undergoing appendicitis surgery. It will depend, of course, on what type of surgery Foden will be out for. It could be a longer term issue if it was an open surgery situation. Can take a long time to heal, of course. So we'll have to wait and see. But for Man City, this is a big blow. But he is expected to miss the Liverpool game. And we'll have to wait and see how many weeks he is indeed meant to be out of the fold for. He was just coming back into form. So it is a big blow to Man City in their hunts to chase down Arsenal for the title. Now, of course, I need to tell you before we go to part two on your questions, all about Arsene Wenger's signed Arsenal shirt, which you can win. This one's going very well indeed. Already 120 tickets have been sold with 199 available. There's only 1 day, 12 hours left. So don't miss out on your chance to get in with a opportunity of winning this. Link always down in today's video description. And just by entering, you can enter yourself into other competitions like trying to win a signed Freddie Ljungberg shirt, a Patrick Vieira signed and framed Arsenal photo montage, and a Jens Lehmann signed and framed Arsenal photo montage, as well as try saying that 10 times, as well as lots of football prizes, site credit as well. Link down in today's video description. Get going with that. Okay, let's go to part 2 then and your questions right after this. You can still get hold of our TGT non-profit merch, and we'll continue to be able to do so as we look to add more designs and items to it across the end of the season and into the summer. But our home and away caps still up indeed. Thank you to everybody that has helped raise over £600 already for a split between Cancer Macmillan Support and the Arsenal Foundation as well. Link in today's video description and around the YouTube page store as well. Okay, let's jump into the chat then and see what you guys are saying. Dan Roberts says only 66 likes. There's over 600 of you watching, and only 10% of you are dropping a press on the like button. It takes a second. 1 second, you just click, and it's there, and you've shown appreciation. Think about your good karma for the day. Yeah. You just sometimes just need to show the good karma. Things will go your way. Yomi says, Tom's advertising merch. Can we call him a merchant? I mean, a merchant of positivity and goodness around Arsenal Football Club, if you will. Yes, you can, Yomi. Of course you can. Dan Roberts says, how are there people that say Saka isn't world class? I think it's obviously down to a subjective definition. For some people, world class status can only be achieved at a certain stage. Like you'd have to do it for a number of years. And Saka's obviously still developing and improving as a player, whereas some people like yourself, clearly, Dan, think that that's not the case. So just like, you know, how will you define legendary status? When we talked about that previously, it is completely subjective. It's down to you. It's down to your opinion. And if your kind of checklist for what needs to be achieved to become world class has already been achieved for Saka, then in your view, he's world class, and that's fine. And in some others, he may need to still do some more for him to achieve that. So we'll have to wait and see what other people feel. But I feel as though it's only a matter of time until it's a universal consensus that Bukayo Saka is eventually going to become a world-class player, if not already. Jay Dime says, hey, Tom, I've been watching Højlund for Denmark. I heard that we've been linked with him, and he looks very good indeed. Yes, scoring more goals. He is going to be a very hot property on the market, if you like, in the summer. For me, I'd love Arsenal to move for a different style of forward like that, that's being as exciting and scoring as many goals as Højlund is this season. Arsenal adding something of their own kind of element of physicality and aerial threat, but also just something different to the forward line if indeed Following Balogun is to move on. And that sale of Following Balogun could even kind of generate the funds to pay for most of that deal as well, if that's indeed what he wants to do. Balogun has been open to say he doesn't really know what's going to happen with his Arsenal future. He's coming back to Arsenal as third choice striker. And so if Arsenal get a really good offer from, say, an Inter or an AC Milan or somebody else, I think there needs to be some genuine consideration over that. And I'd love to see Arsenal move for a Højlund to operate slightly differently to the strikers that we've already got at the club as well. Emerson says, if Arsenal's tactics work so well with the fullback moving into midfield and the possession and the high press, why don't more teams other than City, including England, use them? I think mainly because, Emerson, there is very few players that can actually fulfill that inverted fullback style that Zinchenko or Joao Cancelo or players like this can actually bring. Man City haven't necessarily been doing it as much since they lost Joao Cancelo and Zinchenko. Sergio Gomez is not that player. Kyle Walker's not really that player. Nathan Ake is not necessarily that player either. So they've not necessarily been able to do it the same way that Arsenal have so successfully this season. I just don't think there's that many players out there that can do it. And so that's why I don't think any teams also do it. You need the type of players to be able to play a certain way. And until this season, Arsenal weren't actually able to kind of do that. So we'll have to wait and see if any teams do manage to kind of generate a player or buy a player or develop a player into someone that can do that. Matt Tomo says, would you bet on Saka being included in the Ballon d'Or shortlist for this season? If he continues scoring the amount of goals that he's scoring, you'd be hard-pressed to say. If he wins the Premier League, if he continues to smash it at the end of this season, if he's getting into the high-scoring charts. But I think we all know that Erling Haaland is probably going to win that award this season. The way in which he's scoring goals is ridiculous. But yeah, let's see. Let's see if anything changes. Lynn says Saka was brilliant yesterday, both in assist and scoring. But for that Harry Kane assist, still got the most hype. Would you agree? There is very few things in this English world, Lynn. I say the English world in terms of everyone that's around the England national team. That doesn't allow Harry Kane to be ousted. He's just the top of most people when they're looking and analysing and doing their punditry around England. Kane's always going to come first. Should it be that way? No, it shouldn't. And it's why I think he personally gets so much protection from referees during Premier League games, because he's the England captain, our record goal scorer and all that silly stuff. But yes, it's just the way that it goes, Lynn. Well, we don't need to be frustrated with that. Let Saka do what he does. Let Saka continue to be great. Kane will move on. He's already moving into his 30s come the end of this season. He will move on eventually. And Saka will be the man, in my view, to take on the mantle of England's best player. So I look forward to that period ushering in very soon indeed, fingers crossed. Let's go to Dan, who says, hey, Tom, don't you think the continuous mention of the word 10 more finals creates more tension to the players' minds from a psychological point of view? I mean, to be honest, Dan, when you're in a Premier League title race, no matter how you paint it, no matter how you talk about it, 10 more games between now and the end of the season to potentially win a title that is in your hands, it doesn't matter, because the pressure, the tension is at the absolute maximum. Thankfully, Arsenal have got a number of players now that have got that experience of winning titles, be it abroad, be it in England for other teams, or be it other competitions like the Champions League or other cup competitions like we've seen with Jorginho coming into the group as well. Arsenal have got experience. Arsenal have got composure. And I think we've shown that composure throughout this season, whether it's by winning late, whether it's by winning comfortably with good clean sheets, or whether it's just by absolutely dominating opponents in games like the Fulham away fixture that was touted to be a very tricky test for Arsenal. We have done all we can, and we will continue to do that. So no, I don't think this idea of 10 more finals is putting necessarily more pressure, because I think the pressure is already at an absolute maximum anyway. So let's just wait and see how they cope with it, how they deal with it, how they cope with it, and fingers crossed we can succeed, because that's going to be an amazing achievement if we manage to do it. Fahim says, how do you think Arsenal should go about becoming one of the elite European clubs again should we win the league? The transfer window, obviously, Fahim, is going to be absolutely key, of course, bringing in the right players, bringing in players that can back up your existing starting positions, and, of course, going far in the Champions League next season is going to be a big, big plus. If we can go far in that competition, if we can break through the group stage and through to the latter stages of that competition, my expectation is not going to be on winning the Champions League, but we used to never get past the last 16. So, at the first season, I'd just like us to kind of push past that zone. That'd be an expectation of mine, is that we get into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. That has to be an expectation for me. So let's wait and see. But if we win the league, I don't think we'll be in pot one, because we've been out of the competition for so long. Our coefficient in Europe is no longer very good. That would have been a big plus of winning the Europa League, as being in pot one for the Champions League next season. So we are going to have a very decent side in that group. I don't know if we drop into pot three. I don't think so. But I'm sure we'll be in pot two for next season in the Champions League. So we're going to have a very decent team we can expect in our group, no matter what happens. So let's see. But it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to get back into the Champions League. Hear that music played throughout the Emirates on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. I look forward to it very, very much. So. Okay, let's go to Love Johansson says, first time catching the live show due to the work/time difference. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, my friend. Who would you prefer Spurs get as their manager, aka who would fit the squad miserably? That's a great question. Of the available managers out there, who would I like them to go and get? Oh, Nathan Jones, previously of Southampton. Is he the right man to take over the job there? In terms of managers, that it's hard to say the ones that you think that would suit them the least, because the ironic thing is they're probably not going to go and get them. They're probably going to get a Nagelsmann or a Pochettino back again, who are good coaches. So they're probably going to go and get a better coach that suits them better than Conte did, because no matter how much you think of Conte, he just did not suit that project at all. I mean, he suited them in the sense of that he failed, and Tottenham are very much akin to failure. But I've not. I worry about whoever they get in is going to be a good coach and be better for them than their current one was. Olu says, hey, Tom, Patino has a similar skill set as Zinchenko. Do you think that we can coach him for that position? No, and I don't think that's necessarily completely accurate. Patino is a player that is very versatile in midfield, can play as a 6, can play as an 8. He's even been playing more offensively in the last few games of Blackpool as well. He's just your typical versatile central midfielder. He's not Zinchenko. He's not going to be able to play that position at left back. So, no, I don't think so, Olu. I see where you're coming from because he's more sly. He's got a lower sense of gravity, good technical dribbler, like Zinchenko would be, and he's in the midfield. But no, I don't think that's the way forward for Patino. I think he's certainly someone that you'd look at as going, you're the guy that can replace Granit Xhaka for the long-term future. And I hope that he's certainly able to do that. The Harry Thomas says, hey, Tom, do you reckon that Conte would look at feeder clubs, like buying a Brazilian team? I don't know if they would, but it's certainly something I'm certainly an advocate of. I'd like to see Arsenal break out into some partnerships with clubs outside of the UK. I think it's a push forward. I think it's the next step of football. I think City have kind of beaten people in that aspect to kind of realise that fact. And I think it is the next step in terms of the elite football clubs in football in Europe and the world, is to have that connection with other teams abroad, elsewhere. It supports them and their ambitions in their own league, and obviously helps Arsenal as well by allowing for development of young, exciting talent out there too. So I think there's lots of benefits for both clubs if indeed you're able to do that. Maximir says, Ty Tom, speaking of Haaland, do you know Roy Hodgson had the chance to sign up Haaland for $5 million for Crystal Palace, but he chose to get Jordan Ayew on loan instead? The power of hindsight. Yeah, I think that was a story about Blackburn nearly signing Lewandowski years and years ago as well under Sam Allardyce. So it's always going to be the way that some teams nearly sign these amazing players. It's just part of football, part of football folklore. Maybe if Jordan Ayew had gone to, I don't know, Mulder and then Salzburg, he could have become an amazing player through coaching at a younger age. I don't know. It's impossible to know. I mean, that's a bad example because Jordan Ayew's a relatively limited footballer. But I think that the argument is that if a player goes through a different pathway, different coaches, maybe they can unlock more potential in their game. Let's go to Jeff says, any chance that we can make Rudegaard's just M. Odegaard just to make it immensely happy? I mean, no, because the joke doesn't work. It's the idea is that this is a Rode microphone stand, and so Rudegaard's. Yeah, I'm a comedic genius. It's just the way that it goes. And you can't tamper with comedy genius. Gooner, just I tell you, sometimes I really do judge what I myself comes out of my own mouth. Gooner Jake says, Tom, do you think that we had a discussion with Brighton on a set fee for Caicedo? No, he just wasn't for sale, mate. They turned around and said he's not for sale. And my understanding of the situation is Brighton had no intention of selling him, and there was no discussion around a price tag that they would have accepted. He was just categorically not for sale at any price in the January transfer window. Hamster says, how mad is it that England could have the best right back in the world in Reece James / Trent, 2 world-class midfielders in Rice and Bellingham, and the best right wing in the world? And we've got Rashford and Colwill all coming through. I mean, I wouldn't describe as Rashford coming through. I think Rashford is in his mid-20s now, and certainly a player that should be starting for England on that left flank for me. But he pulled out obviously duty for this tournament. But in the future, you could see a front three that includes, I mean, to be fair, Rashford could become England's number 1 striker. You could have Rashford through the middle, Saka on the right, Foden on the left, Bellingham, Rice. I mean, there's a big spot there for whatever number 10, whether it's Maddison, whether it's Mount. I like Mason Mount, as you guys well know. I know a lot of people do like Mason Mount. That's fine, but I rate the guy. I think Mount or Maddison, as I say, coming through are exciting options for England. Who knows? Maybe in the future we see a young Charlie Patino coming through for England. And then in defence, you've got some. We're blessed with a silly amount of options. It's going to take, I think, until Southgate leaves now to get England into their best state. You know me, I don't particularly rate Gareth Southgate. I think he's a waste of a manager in terms of the talent that we've got. It's being wasted on him. I think we could have a better coach. I'd be snapping up Luis Enrique immediately to bring him in and to try and maximise the talent in this England squad. But I don't think we'll ever see that, which is a real shame. Let's go to Raul says, hey, Tom, I understand you don't want to jinx the team by predicting the games we'd win. So would you predict the games that we lose points to? No, Raul, I'm not doing any predicting at all. It's just I'm not going to be tempting fate this season. Not happening. Not at all. Alison says, what do you think about the Conte sacking? Some fans wanted Conte at Arsenal instead of Arteta. I'm sure that answer is different now. Yeah, I mean, the sacking of Conte at Spurs, I think, is probably the most Spursy thing to happen in recent memory. I mean, you bring in one of the most successful managers. Look, let's not beat around the bush. Conte is a world-class coach and a brilliant manager that's done brilliant things. And Tottenham are certainly a big reason as to why he's failed. However, he has flaws. And I think that Tottenham in particular was a job that highlighted those flaws more than any other. So I'd be very surprised indeed if Conte goes to another job and fails catastrophically, especially if it's an Italian one. I think he'll do very well at wherever he moves next. Let's go. Let's scroll down a little bit more. A lot of people saying Vieira to Spurs. Goodness me. Imagine if that happens. That'd be ridiculous. We're not tempting fate, people. We are not tempting fate. William says, any chance Arsenal can turn Spurs into a feeder club? Says William. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, I mean, that would be hilarious, but never going to happen, obviously. Marcus says, charity events, golf days, and Tom to appear on as many Arsenal YouTube channels in a day as possible. That's quite a cool charity idea, actually. Can you appear on as many Arsenal-related or just football-related YouTube channels in one day as possible? Maybe. Maybe that's a day that we could spend raising some money, but a golf day interests me a lot more. And there was something I was looking at. I think it's 72 holes you can do in one day in support of Cancer Macmillan. So yeah, that would be great if we did something like that and raise some money. It's something I'm looking into to try and do a fundraising event. Obviously, we're doing a lot of fundraising anyway with our merchandise, which you can get down below. Go get it. Go support some great charities. But yeah. It's something that's in my mind to do some more fundraising for charity because I think we do some great job at raising money here as well. Anyway, we are going to wrap things up there. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I much appreciate your time. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'll be back actually at 10 a.m. this morning on the Arsenal Way. We're doing a show over there this morning too. We'll be doing the Arsenal Lounge as it's Monday night, 8 a.m. Mondays, always. 8 p.m., sorry, Mondays on the Arsenal Lounge with Mo and Lev. Wednesday, there isn't an 8 a.m. live show, but we'll be producing and releasing we'll be releasing our Eat, Sleep, Arsenal Repeat show for 8 a.m. on Wednesday. It's just because I'm going to the hospital on Wednesday, so I don't have an opportunity to do the live show. So apologies for that, but you'll have a show still going out on Wednesday at 8 a.m. It just won't be this usual live show. So bear with us. And then we'll get to the all the extra Leeds build up or at the end of the week as well. Thursday, Friday, we'll have a preview show. But yes, I'll be back tomorrow morning. I'll be back a little bit later on this morning on the Arsenal Way and tonight on the Arsenal Lounge. Have a fantastic day. Much appreciate your time as always. And as always, the Arsenal.